Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Eastern Final Review. The Hamilton Tiger Cats beat the Toronto Argonauts and advance to the Grey Cup game to face the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, interesting game here. It looked like Toronto was going to be the team to beat after that first half, but Hamilton really started kicking it up. So, we'll get right into the pregame here. Bethel Thompson is in. He tested negative for COVID-19, being allowed to play this game. There's still a lot of people pissed about it because the CFL kind of bent their own rules here, but I understand why they did it. It was, business-wise, it was the right decision because, Toronto doesn't have nearly as many fans as they used to, at least attending games. Their attendance isn't that great. Obviously they'll do better in playoff attendance, but, they're still losing money, so they tried to keep him in. Otherwise, they knew that, the interest is going to get even worse, and they can't really afford that. So, anyways, going into the first quarter, there'll be a pretty slow start to this game. Hamilton would, though, throw an early pick, and the Argonauts would take advantage of that immediately. Go back and forth for a little bit, and then Toronto, mid-quarter, would get a field goal, getting the first points of the game, 3-0 Argonauts. And then Davis, who I believe is a D-end for Hamilton, would have some great coverage on Foster in the end zone. Something that you don't really see a D-end do that much, but it was a really great move by him. And then Toronto would be forced to get a field goal, and they would settle for a late quarter field goal, making it 6-0 Argonauts. Second quarter, Mazzoli gets sacked, and a forced fumble goes out, and it is Toronto ball. And then the Hamilton defense was now finally really starting to put some decent pressure on Bethel Thompson. That would only get better as the game goes on. It would go back and forth for about 10 minutes, some decent drives each way. And then Toronto would get their third field goal of the game, making this 9-0 Argonauts. Then, at this point, Toronto was really trying to make some longer throws because they were really hoping to get that touchdown. They're really trying to put some pressure on the Ticats, make those long throws. And if you can get them and you can have them succeeding, it can really help you there because they were trying to get a really solid lead over Hamilton, and they didn't quite get that, but they would settle for another field goal, making this 12-0 Argonauts. And at this point, Hamilton's really starting to gain a little bit of momentum in this game. And then this is where shit hits the fan. This is where it gets a little crazy. Hamilton throws it, and then Toronto forces a fumble, recovers it, runs 40 yards, and then Hamilton forces a fumble and gets possession again. So really weird chain of events there in that play. But it was enjoyable football to watch. And that would pretty much do it for the first half of this game, 12-0 Argonauts. Going into the second quarter, Dane Evans is in instead of Mazzoli. I think really they were hoping that maybe just a line change would really kind of light the fire under the asses of some guys to really get them going. And I think it definitely worked. It would go back and forth for a little bit, and then Hamilton would get a touchdown off a punt return.
Wow.
Here comes the snow.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're going to see some of that, but holy crap.
Although I do want Toronto to win. Because I don't want Hamilton to have home field advantage at the Grey Cup.
Yeah, I see.
And in fact, actually, I think if Toronto wins,
yeah,
I think home field advantage will be better.
That is one hell of a return. Jesus.
Yep, and then, so first touchdown of the game for the Tiger Cats, and then they would miss a convert, and it would be 12-6 for the Argos. And then Hamilton, on their next drive, would have a really nice play where they were looking like they were going to kick, but they would fake the kick properly. Saying this because Winnipeg had a really bad fake punt the other day. They would have a really great fake. They get that first down. And then Evans to Ackland for a touchdown.
That trick play set that up. Jeez. Wow.
Yep, and then Hamilton would go for 2 on this one, and they wouldn't quite get it, and they would tie the game 12-12. At this point, Toronto started to get a little more desperate than they already were, and they really were going for these longer throws again. It was not working. They couldn't get anything connected. They were lucky they didn't throw as many picks and whatnot, but is what it is. They're really trying to do something, and I actually appreciate them for actually trying. And then Toronto would then go for a field goal. They would now miss the field goal, not quite get it. And then there would be a rouge, and then it would be 13-12 for the Argos. Not a touchback. I've been confused about that through part of the season. It's actually called a rouge. Touchback is something else. My apologies on that. Understandable mistake. Then there would be a sack by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is where the Hamilton D-line is really kicking it up, like I was talking about they did last game against the when they were playing the Alouettes. Sorry. And then, anyways, that would bring us into the fourth quarter. And Hamilton, at this point, the running game is really starting to go. They got the throwing game going. Now the running game is going, and Hamilton is pushing on all cylinders. The running game was doing really great at this point, and Hamilton would get a touchdown. So Hamilton would get the 2-point convert, making this a game 20-13, meaning that the Argonauts would need a touchdown and a convert in order to tie this game if they were able to do that. And then it would go back and forth quite a bit, a few decent drives each way. And then Toronto would get another field goal, making this 20-16 for the Argonauts. Then Hamilton with another touchdown. The convert would be good, standard 1 point, 27-16. Toronto would then get a field goal, making this 27-19 to end this game. The Argonauts with the early lead going into the half, but would eventually fall as the Tiger Cats would prevail and get through them and advance to the Grey Cup game. So now we have a Grey Cup rematch. It's been 2 years since we've had a Grey Cup game and the same two teams are going at it. I'm a little bit surprised. I expected there to be a little bit of change. I expected the Bombers hopefully to be in it just because of how great the Bombers have been doing this season. Hamilton, it's been a little bit more of a mixed bag, but I know Hamilton really picks it up come playoff times, and they absolutely did today. So I'm excited for this Grey Cup game, obviously, because my team is in it. But I think it'll be a really good game. Now, I'm not going to lie. As a Bomber fan, I was kind of hoping for Toronto. The reason I was hoping for Toronto was because I knew about Toronto's more playoff inconsistency as opposed to Hamilton, who normally is pretty darn good in the playoffs. And the fact that the Grey Cup is in Hamilton, I really didn't want to be playing against Hamilton, having that home field advantage. So that kind of sucks, but I have absolute faith in our players that we will be able to do it. The Bomber team that we have right now, there's no reason they can't win that game. And you know what? It's going to be difficult because the Tiger Cats are going to be, I'm probably a little bitter about what happened 2 years ago, and they're going to try to use that as momentum, as they should, for this next game. So I think that for the Argonauts, this is a bit disappointing. I think that the week off definitely hurt them because I think at the start they came out strong, but they got too comfortable with just kicking field goals, and they really needed to really hammer in a touchdown. They needed to get that running game going. They never did, to be honest. At least nothing significant. They had a run here and there that was decent, but nothing to the point where they could run it in for the touchdown. So is what it is there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Western final review where the Bombers defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders and advanced to the Grey Cup game. Also, my interview with Chris Walby, as well as I was with Jake from Peg City Hockey, Ryan from Hot Garbage Sports, with our first episode of the CFL version of the Prairie Puck. A little strange how we still call it Prairie Puck, but it is what it is. We had just had a great time, And I think you'll definitely enjoy it. You'll hear all the stories from Chris Walby on there, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, make sure if you guys aren't subscribed to Peg City Hockey, make sure you subscribe to his stuff. He's now doing a little bit of CFL coverage as well. So Jake, welcome to the club. And yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for next time. And Grey Cup game, let's go Bombers.